the sun.
What's happening? This is episode 8 of Coachella Magazine Radio, sponsored by Palm Springs Grip. And I have a very close friend of mine, one of the most creative people I know, Sarah Scheideman. Can I coin the queen of craft, or is that already coined for you?
If you want.
Okay. This is the queen of craft that we have next week. So tell me about the Coachella Valley art scene. Like, when did you start that?
Okay, so the Coachella Valley art scene was basically a passion project that I started when I was 25 years old. And I came back to the Coachella Valley after college. I didn't have a job or money, but all I had was Wi-Fi and a computer. So I just created a blog based on a topic that I was interested in, which was local and emerging talent from here in the Coachella Valley. And I kind of did it just because I was living out here, and I thought, if I'm going to live out here and it's 2008, not much going on, I'm just going to make the best situation and try to create a scene. And you know, through hard work, I think I was able to do it, and that was 10 years ago, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what were the things that you wanted to like implement, like as far as like the scene, the Coachella Valley scene?
I think just making more opportunities happen for people that weren't gonna get a lot of light in the art community out here at that time, especially, which was more high end. It was, you know, it was harder to access. And I just wanted to make art and culture and community easily accessible to everyone, and kind of give everyone, like, if someone was just starting off in their career, like, give them a chance. If they had passion and drive and professionalism, like, kind of be that step to be, you know, out of high school, maybe while you're in college, to get you going in your career and see what we could make out here together. You know?
So as a youngster, were you like always into art?
No.
Really?
Yeah, so I graduated from Desert Hot Springs High, and there really wasn't an art program out there. And nobody in my family is an artist. So art to me wasn't really like an option that you could go down. You know, it was like, I was into soccer. Like, I wanted to be a goalie, professional goalie, and I just, like, art was kind of something that I just happened to be kind of good at, but it wasn't, like, I wasn't like, I want to be an artist when I grow up. Not at all.
Yeah.
So it wasn't until I went to College of the Desert and I met other people in the community that were like my age, you know, had my interests. And then from there I was like, oh, art people, artists, they're my kind of people.
Yeah.
And these people I feel comfortable being around, expressing myself, exploring myself with them. And that's when I kind of decided, like, oh, maybe I just want a career in the arts, whatever that is, however I can contribute, you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when did like the whole the crafting come along, as far as the Coachella Valley art scene journey?
Yeah, so it's kind of interesting because the crafting is like my personal interest, and the Coachella Valley art scene is like my like offering to the community. So they kind of run parallel, and I would intertwine them along the years in terms of like bringing crafts to a Coachella Valley art scene event. So there was parties that I was doing for a while at the Ace Hotel with Alfalfa, and they were called World Famous. And we'd have a bunch of people come, and we'd promote it through the Coachella Valley art scene. And, you know, there was a lot of people at these parties, and they looked kind of bored. And so I thought, like, what would I want to do at a party besides just drink and dance? And I was like, I would want to craft. And so I just put the materials out there to see if other people wanted to craft with me and make stuff, and kind of, you know, while you're drinking and hanging out, talking to people you don't know, just to like make something, fidget with something, a pipe cleaner, you know, glitter, whatever. And it turned out other people liked it too. And so I just rolled with it and, you know, tried to bring crafts with me wherever I can.
So that was like my introduction into even coming out here. Being young was like coming to these parties and people were crafting. I was just like, wow, what is this? People were dancing, crafting, chilling, mingling.
Yeah.
I don't think I ever experienced that, and I feel like that gives people like a certain like comfort level when they go somewhere, because they feel like they can do whatever they want.
Yeah.
They feel like a little kid, just free.
Yeah, it's the feeling of like nostalgia, and then also just like being free just to be who you are and make something really nice or make something ugly, and just like make something, you know.
Yeah.
So I guess that's all I care about. Like, as long as people get to make something and feel good, then it's like, cool.
So when did you get on the other level of like doing crafts at Coachella and like FYF Fest?
Okay, so it's kind of a weird story that also correlates with the Coachella Valley art scene because within only like 6 to 8 months of creating the CV art scene, it was just like a really funky blog at that time. Like I was promoting on MySpace, you know, it was like that old school.
Wow.
Like I would go on MySpace on the bulletins and like promote anything and try to like get people to the site. But I just got an email in my inbox one day from the old art director of Golden Voice, and he was like, we found you through Google Alerts, which is super random also, and he was like, we saw that there's a scene out here in the desert and you're kind of cultivating it. Would you want to come in and talk to us about like how you could see the local community, the art community getting involved in the festival, and where do you see yourself there? And I thought it was like spam. Like I didn't even believe the email because I was like, you know, 25. I'd been going to the festival for like, you know, like 6-7 years at that point, and I was like, oh my God. So I went in and they were basically like, how do you want to contribute? Here's different things happening at the festival. And when they presented the campgrounds, at that time they're really small, and I was like, oh, that'd be fun because we could just bring crafts and like craft with people from all over the world, and it seemed just kind of like natural. And so they were like, okay, let's give it a shot. And from there, I've just been doing it every single year, you know, at festivals that seem fit, and it seemed, you know, people. It's a way for people to connect more than just like at a concert and everyone's like, you know, looking at a stage and you're in your own world. The crafts is kind of like this opposite experience where you have to interact and engage and create, you know, and so it seems to be just really compatible with what they have going on, and so
It's perfectly compatible. You see like a lot of drunk people come in, like, what is this?
Yeah.
Looking around, and they like the artist comes out of them. Like, hold on, let me make a mask real quick.
Right.
Make a necklace real quick.
Yeah.
It's actually a genius idea because it gives you just like that other aspect of like social, I guess, interconnectivity, you know? Just talking to random people about stuff, looking at random whatever they're doing over there.
Yeah.
It's actually a very good idea. And how long have you been doing that at Coachella?
So at Coachella, this is like my 10th year there.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what about FYF?
FYF, I did that for maybe like, I don't know, maybe 6 years or something.
Okay.
And then I've been doing Camp Flognog too, which is fun too.
Yeah.
So, which is, I really appreciate Golden Voice because they put value on what I do, which seems, you know, almost like crafts could be like childish, perceived that way, but they take it serious, and they are open to fitting me into these other situations with other people, and through there we're able to make art with, you know, all the people that come to their festivals, so it's fun.
Yeah, that's dope. So what's your favorite like craft installation that you created?
Oh.
I know you like the pins.
I do. Oh, like which craft project I like the best? Okay, so I have a new one. I like the pins is like kind of the fastest, easiest like thing. I've probably pressed over like 20,000 pins of people over the years. It's really crazy. Dang. All ages, senior citizens, kids, child, like whatever, wherever. But my favorite craft, I think, is one that I came up with last year at Coachella Fest, and it's like an aromatherapy craft, and it's kind of just going a little bit more into self-care at the festival and calmness, and, you know, teaching people how to make their own roll-ons or spritzers. And I feel like that helps people even beyond like crafting, is that it's also like they can go into the festival and then have a way to like calm down and like relieve stress. So I feel like we're kind of helping with like mental health as well.
Yeah, so. Definitely, because a festival could get a little deep
sometimes. It's so stressful. I don't know how other people, I can barely handle it, and so like I think I would see all these people and be like, how do they even handle like this whole thing? It seems so stressful. So it's kind of nice to be able to like teach a craft that they can use, you know, to relax.
Okay. So what about like other installations that you had? Because I remember walking through, I was at Splash House.
Yeah.
And I was walking through the Saguaro and I looked at that
Yeah.
installation. I was like, Sarah has to have done this. This has to have been Sarah. It had like the little people at the pool.
Oh, yeah.
It's like an exact depiction of Splash House. Via dolls and
there's like drama
crafts.
going on with
Drama, drinks getting served, all types of stuff. So what are some other installations that you've done? Besides that one, or what was that one even called? I don't even know.
So that one is called Color Ramas, and that is kind of like a spin-off from, let's say, doing all the arts and crafts. It's like people will just kind of know I'm just like crafty in general.
Yeah.
And that things I like to do are just fun and colorful and playful, and it's not like very serious art, you know. So. But I take it serious, but it doesn't like, it's not, the story of it isn't like serious, but, so that, you know, Saguaro, that was just like basically a blank, what was it, like a merchandise rack that they hadn't ever sold merchandise from, so they wanted to convert it to something fun and poppy, and we just kind of worked together to come up with an idea to like showcase people what they could do at the hotel through Barbies and color and like coming up with fun little scenes. And, you know, doing that kind of work is the same as kind of like designing the art studios at Coachella or using the same materials that we use in the craft tents. It's kind of the same project, but like changed every single time.
Okay.
So, yeah.
And I seen one, I didn't know that you did it until I seen you later on in the day. For Desert X. You were a part of contributing to help make that installation. What was the installation called that you helped?
Yeah, so that I got to help on the Eric Mack. I forgot the title of the piece, but it was the fabric one that was at the gas station. And you know, it was fun to work on. Like, when do you get to like sew and stitch Missoni fabrics onto like an abandoned gas station?
Fabrics. That was crazy.
Yeah, and Eric Mack, the artist, he was so cool, you know. I feel like that piece was just like, it had such a vibe and a mood, and you know, it was cool to be able to help, like, you know, go on a lift and get lifted up on this thing and then just be up, you know, like hand stitching the fabric along these like ropes. And
you did it like that?
Yeah.
You didn't do it on a sewing machine?
No, so that was, they produced all that prior to us getting there. And then our team was in charge of like somehow installing it onto the gas station and figuring out how to like secure it down.
Okay. That was crazy because it looked like from afar when we were coming up on it, it looked really far out, like the way it was like moving on the gas station. You couldn't even tell what it was.
Yeah.
That was dope. So it was his idea, and then you contributed in the creation and conceptualization of everything.
Well, no, it was his idea, and he had like a clear vision of what he wanted, how he wanted it installed.
Okay.
But like, you know, it's like you don't even know how you're gonna do it until you get to the location. So then we just got together and we're like, okay, we'll take this rope, and is it okay if we attach it to that gas station sign over there?
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, that's cool, that's fine. So, you know, we just kind of helped. Basically, he led us, and we were just able to assist him. So it was fun.
That's dope. Because I don't think people know that side of like how a lot of these things come together. You may hear like the inspiration for it from the artists and stuff like that, but a lot of people don't know what like goes into it. Because Desert X is pretty rare too, because it's like on things, it's like out in the open. It's not like in a gallery. You know? Yeah,
and that's what I really loved about his piece, is that it was like, it's something that's so like tender, you know. The fabric is just like whimsical, and it's like hanging, and I told him I felt like that piece was like romantic. Out of all the pieces, it just had this like romantic kind of feel with the fabric, and it was cool. He's a cool guy, cool kid.
Dope. Yeah. Shout out Eric Mack.
Eric Mack.
Okay. Shout out Eric Mack. So, what about nightlife in Palm Springs? A lot of people don't know to come out here. I go to LA, I go to a lot of places out of California, but a lot of people act like Palm Springs is just like so far out and so far out of the way.
Yeah.
You were one of the people that I first met out here, and that put me on like a lot of like the cool like hip spots out here. Like, how do you go about that? You just fall into them, just come across people that tell you something.
Yeah, I think I'm someone that always tries to support small businesses.
Mm-hmm.
So it's something I'm always seeking out, like a small restaurant or a small bar, or just trying to find the other in everything, and so I think when you're just like inquisitive about things and kind of just try to stay on the pulse, you'll be able to find things. And like, I think what's nice about Palm Springs is that it's like this funky scene.
Yeah, it is.
And so like, it's kind of like you can involve yourself in it as much as you want, or retreat back and not do anything at all. So I like that.
So you think it's gonna get any bigger? Like,
oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I think the desert is guaranteed to double and expand, and every time, like every weekend I go out, I'm like, oh my God, it's getting more and more diverse out here, and that's good. And so I think it's going to be exciting to watch the Coachella Valley evolve and change, and like, thank God, really.
Yeah. I think it's always been inevitable. It's super nice out here.
Yeah.
It's like very peaceful. It's a different type of energy than LA. It's not all that crazy traffic.
Right.
Just like anxiety everywhere.
Yeah,
what I'm saying? So I feel like it's always been inevitable, but like, I'm not really from here.
Right.
To like really see the growth, I guess, from a grassroots level.
Yeah.
Because you grew up out here?
I grew up out here, born and raised.
Oh, dang, rare. I don't think I knew that either.
DHS.
DHS? Wow, that's rare.
Yeah, so it's nice to like, change up your scene a little bit.
So what about astrology in the role of astrology in your life as a creator?
I think, I don't know. I love astrology. It's like, I really believe in it, and I think that the makeup of like my planets is basically affects who I am, and also what I want to bring to the world and how I affect other people. Yeah. And then also just all the people around me. So I think astrology is something I just like personally incorporate into things. Yeah. And other people might not even know. Like at the saguaro, there's one of the boxes is like a party. A party scene of like a birthday party, and for me, I made that like 2 Gemini twins celebrating their birthday on the same day. I just like in my own mind, and then I have fun like, how would a Gemini frame their birthday party? Or to me, it's just like a fun way to relate to people, find patterns, and keep in perspective that there's like fire, there's water, there's earth, and there's air in everything we do. So it's kind of just like a grounding element for someone who has no earth in their chart.
Yeah, so. Damn, very rare. So when did that come about? Because astrology came about at a very like pivotal time in my life, like as far as like noticing things and like you said, patterns and stuff. Yeah. Maybe like 8 years ago or so. Was it like a pivotal turning point in like your creative process?
Well, I actually got really into astrology when I was in high school. Oh, damn. And I became just like a super nerd about it. I don't even know how I got into it. I think I had a teacher who was into it, and she like looked up my charts one day and told me about it. And
dang, back in high school?
In high school, wow. That's DHS, and so that just like affected me a lot, and it made sense to me. I don't know why. Like it just, like the logic to me was there. It was like ancient logic. So I was kind of like, okay. And, it's something I've been into. Like when I was in high school, I researched, like before I researched colleges to go to, I looked up astrology schools, and I was like, I really want to be an astrologist. And when I told my family that, they were like, no, like you can't be an astrologist. Yeah. And then later I told them I want to be an artist, and it's like, but it was something that I was like, I could see myself like always learning in that field and always evolving. And so it's something that I'll just, I'll be talking to someone, and by the end of the conversation, I'll know their sign. Yeah. Because I'll like sneak it in there and talk.
I feel you.
And so it's just fun. I like it.
That's how I feel too. Like I don't think I knew about natal charts maybe until I was like in my earlier 20s, so high school would have probably like flipped my whole head.
It did.
Yeah.
It's a lot of awareness, and
Yeah.
you know, I don't really like to read my own charts too much because it gets like, I don't know, it just gets weird. So I would love learning about like my friends, and then kind of incorporating into like how that relates to me, or how that relates to their personal relationships with their family, or a guy they have a crush on, or whatever, you know. So.
Yep. What about Mercury retrograde? Is Mercury retrograde right now, right?
Yeah. Sometimes I like to not focus on that, because it almost seems like something negative that we can all be like, well, my computer broke and it's because of that, you know, and I feel like it's just something I don't want to acknowledge, but then they'll come around and bite me in the ass every time, and I'm like, all right, well, there's probably a little bit of truth to that.
Whenever I do something that I never do in his Mercury retrograde, I believe that it's real.
Yeah,
like I almost lost my wallet 2 weeks ago. I've never lost my wallet in my life, and I was like,
Yeah.
I remember. I know what it is.
Yeah.
It wasn't me.
Yeah.
it was the planets.
Yeah.
So what about Lady Lead?
Oh, okay.
So you're one of the people that bring light to like empowering girls.
Yeah.
And like bringing out their creative side. Is that what that's about?
Yeah, totally. That's a program that I developed with Palm Springs Unified School District in partnership with Louisa Castrodale, and she's the art coordinator for the school district here. And she came to me with basically a problem. The middle school and high school girls were having all kinds of problems during their lunch hour, you know, from, personal self-esteem issues to getting in trouble to like things I don't even really want to talk about on camera. And so, she came to me and she was like, what can we do to like solve this problem together? And, in the only way I know how, I was like, well, let's bring crafts, because it builds like community, self-esteem, and it's also really therapeutic. Once, especially a bunch of women sit around and start making things together, it's like things come out and people start talking, and you'll hear the girls talking amongst themselves about issues and this and that. So we use crafts as a way to bring them together, and then we'll have prompts from within, to have them talk about issues of being, a young female just trying to survive middle school, which is like really hard. So, it's like a really rewarding program, and I think it's just like an extension of everything I do, just going into, again, like a same project, just like a different box, you know, so.
Is that your favorite one, would you say?
It's, sometimes it is. It's actually one of my scariest, because getting in front of middle school and high schoolers is different than getting in front of like a group of people that are the same age as me, or people that are older, the kids, they look at you, and like if you're not 100% forward or current with what you're talking about, then they'll like really let you know, or they won't talk to you, and then you're like, okay, this is a tough crowd,
because that's a very influential like age to be at. Like if they really like you, they'll definitely let you know.
They let you know, and if they don't like you,
they're gonna be attentive, like okay.
Yeah, exactly. But sometimes they'll like be quiet the whole time and kind of give you looks, and they analyze everything about you. Like at the end they'll be leaving, and they're like, oh, I really like your lavender eyeshadow. And I'm like, whoa. Like, I forgot I even had that happen. They're just like everything you are and what you stand for. They're reading really into it, and they want to learn, So it's like a more like intense situation than just like doing crafts at a festival or like at a bar, It's educational, it's therapeutic, and it's really personal. What they share with us is very personal, and I love it. It's interesting.
That's dope. That's very dope. Yeah. So your next project is going to be at Coachella, right? The crafts at Coachella. You referred to this being a very low stress time right now. But next week is going to be high stress. Yeah,
next week is like when we start like having to purchase all the materials, and we go around. I try to be as resourceful as possible. I try to use items, like upcycle things as much as possible. So I'll go to thrift stores. I'll go to like, if I know someone's, I'll go on Craigslist and try to find things people are getting rid of and see how we can incorporate it. Or I'll go to like recycle centers and try to find like mylar or like metal objects we can paint. Just anything that people are throwing away. I think it's like the thrifter within myself that's like, I could use that. I can make it better. You know, I could like craft that. Like, you know, or like someone else will do something cool with this. I don't know. We'll just put it out on the table. So
how do you, what's your process in finding like the material or whatever? Do you just like whatever catches your eye and just like, I need that.
Yeah, I'll like.
Or do you have a list written down?
I have kind of. Oh, it's a little bit of both. So like, I'll know exactly what crafts we're doing and then what materials each of those crafts need. But then I'll want to add a little extra flair that will like throw off someone who came from Australia to the desert. Okay. And then I want to give them a taste of like what it is out here, what people have out here. Like the humor. To me, the desert is like a humorous place. It's like. It's just funny to me. Like you talk to people and things that happen out here are funny. So like I try to incorporate a little bit of that humor and the oddness of the desert into like just having things on the table that people are like, what the hell? Like, what is this? Like, where did this come from? Or this is so old or this is whatever. So, and a lot of that will just be like me, like, you know, on a daily basis going around to different thrift stores and just trying to find unique items that are people from the desert have like owned and like now it's in front of them and you know it's like a little piece of authenticity on the table. Yeah, that was a very good term you just came up with. A little piece of authenticity on the table. That's like that's a good catchphrase. So what are your like your social media? Can you shout out your Oh yeah. Well,
how people can find you?
Yeah.
I normally can't find you with the 5
so that's supposed to be, it's a digital way of writing Sarah, is how I see it. But then I realize other people don't get that. And I'm like, whoops, maybe I should have just wrote like Sarah Scheideman. But then no one can
it's a part of your brand now, you know what I'm saying? But sometimes I'd be like, damn, how do I, with Sarah, I'd be like, hold on.
See, the 5 is an S.
I see that one. And the 7 is the R. You just got to flip it around.
Right, because I didn't want any other name except Sarah. And then that was taken. So I was like, all right, and I don't know what I was, you know, Instagram wasn't even, like, I got it when it, like, kind of first came out, so I was like, we'll see where this whole thing goes, and then it ended up being the biggest thing, and I just figure, that's my, like, Instagram name, but, yeah, so it's 5A7AH. And 5 and 7 have nothing to do with my life, it's just,
That was going to be the next question that I asked you, but now that I know, cool.
Literally nothing. Like those numbers don't mean anything.
Okay, cool. What about Twitter? Isn't it the same thing?
No, Twitter. Okay, so Twitter I started before Instagram, and on Twitter it's Sophistafunk, and so that is people in high school used to say that was my style. Okay. Like the way I would dress, like a little sophisticated but a little funky, and so I just kind of thought like. I couldn't think of anything. I couldn't get the Sarah handle there either. So then I was like, I'll just do that. And then that became that.
Wow, that was a rare backstory that I never knew. I think I always wanted to ask you that, but I never knew until now. Okay.
Yeah, and then I'll think about changing something, but I'm like, it is what it is. It's like, whatever. Who cares?
I feel you. And what about the Coachella Valley art scene?
So, side note on the Coachella Valley art scene is that's a project that I did for 10 years, and I felt like this past year it was like a good time to kind of end that project. So, you know, it's on the internet, and you could see all the work that we've done through there, but that's a project that I feel like is just kind of like, I don't need to push it beyond 10 years, you know, and I've done like the most I could do with the Coachella Valley art scene. But in the time of ending that program, and moving on to something else, I started Scene Creative, which is, it's not a nonprofit, and it's just a LLC, and so that's what I do all the crafts through. Okay. So, yeah. Okay. So and that's scenecreative.us.
Scenecreative.us?
Yeah, because .com was taken.
Okay. That's just good, though. I like that.
Yeah.
I used a .net for my first Argoon.
Yeah. I love net, but I was like, is that too old school? And us, I was like, it's always a group. Whatever I do, it's always like, it's not a solo endeavor. It's always like, I incorporate a group to do anything I need to do, even like a small thing. It's like, I need people to help me do it. So I just put us.
That's very good. So you heard it here, how to find all her mysterious social networks. 5.
None of them go really like intertwined.
All over the place, but you know how to find them now. You know how to get in contact with. This is my lovely friend, Sarah Scheideman, the person that brought me out here to the desert to find all the unique swag. Artist, creator, astrologer, craft queen.
Weirdo.
I guess that's a Pisces thing, right?
Yeah.
And this is Treem Heff, your host of Coachella Magazine Radio, episode 8.